Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to this game's tutorial. Today we are going to do nothing in terms of the visual, but we're going to be optimizing our save and load so we get prepared for the actual save to cloud and load to cloud. So we've created two new functions and have a look at what it gives us inside of the regedit now. Say we actually save something, this is what we get. So we get a single string that holds pretty much all of our data. So as you could tell, this is all the data from our game on the right side here. So we stayed in the game for 27 seconds. This is the highest wave completed, which is 0, and then that's the level of our towers, so they're all on level 1. The amount of gold we have, the amount of, well, the rest of the thing we have, and then after that we've got the loot, a few other things, and also the ability cooldown. So everything is stored in a single save string, and that's going to help us quite a lot when we try to move this over to the cloud. So guys, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so today we are going to fix our save. So a little bit earlier I've talked about our save and I said it wasn't really optimal. And now what I realized when I wanted to actually save this to the cloud is that we better be optimal, else it's not going to work. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to turn all of this save structure, as you can tell, all those player pref, we're going to turn it into a single string. So all of these are going to be pretty much a single string in the end. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to be changing those, the way we actually do these, but we're still going to leave the code there in comments so we don't really have to well, we can actually have a reference to that. So I'd like you to actually go over here where we have our for save function, and we're going to declare two more, and those two more are simply going to be some kind of helpers. The first one is going to be load from string. So private void load from string, which is going to take in a string saved data. So this is pretty much whenever we're ready to load our data back up, actually get our saved game, we're simply going to send a formatted string to this, and this is going to take care of just putting the values inside of the correct arrays. And just below this, we'll declare a private string, and this is going to be the get save string. This one does not take anything in parameter. It is simply going to take all the value we currently have in the game and transfer them into a single string. And I'm actually going to start with this one first, so the get save string. We're going to start by declaring a string save data is equal to empty string. And now I'm going to expand the save local. Just take everything I have in here, copy, and put it down there. Now we're going to be removing most of that, actually all of that, but at least we're going to have something to look at up here. So what do we need to do exactly? We are going to do, the first thing we're going to do is save the time and the highest wave. So in order to do that, we'll do save data is plus equal to total playtime to string, and then we'll do plus, we can do a plus this sign, so the percent sign. And that's not going to be all, we're actually going to do plus highest wave completed, so highest wave completed, again to string, and we'll do plus, and now I gotta find the pipe sign, so if you can just give me a second. Here's my pipe sign. Okay, let me explain to you what is going to happen in the end. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to fit all of our data in a single string, and in order to differentiate what is what, we're going to be splitting them. We're going to be splitting everything in our string by using the sign, so the percentage sign, and also the pipe sign. So I'm just going to assume that every time it's a pipe, we're moving section, I could say. The first section is time and highest wave. Now the second section will be the stats. And in between every single one of my stats, I'll have this percentage sign. So we've pretty much done that. That's fine. The last save is equal to time.time. Let's not forget about it. We're just going to put it here. We've also done this one. Let's delete it. Now, as far as the stat goes, we need to save tower stats damage into our save data. So here's what we're going to do. Save data is plus equal, and then I'll just move line because we've got a lot of formatting to do. And I'll do tower stats int add the stat damage like that to string. And every time I am going to do plus this percentage character and then plus again, and I'll move to the other line. So I don't know how many stats we've got. Let's just assume it's that much. The second one is hit point. Third one is range. Fourth one is speed. And I'd just like to say something while I'm doing this is what could have been even easier than doing what I'm doing right now, but it would have given us less flexibility in the end, is that we could simply iterate through the array. So we could simply do a for int I, as long as I is smaller than stat.length, we are simply going to put everything one next to each other, but we don't really know in which order they're going to appear. In fact, we do know, but I feel like we've got so much more flexibility using this, and we can actually visualize that as we do it. So everything is fine, we don't need this one. We've got all of our stats. Now the important part of it is that the very last one has to be separated by a pipe and not a percentage sign. So we'll do plus pipe and we'll actually close this off here. And that is our stats. Next section is going to be about the currencies. So let's do currencies like that. Save data is plus equal, and then we just move on again. So currencies add index int, and I'm just looking at down below here. Oh, by the way, we don't need this anymore, so let's just go ahead and remove it. Currencies add gold, just like this. To string, and again, plus my little percentage sign. We just move on like that until we've got all our three currency. And of course, the last one, let's not forget, the last one actually uses a pipe instead. So this is the gold, this is the magic brick, and then that would be the diamonds. Okay, so we've got this out of the way. Let's keep going. Next section is all about loot, so that's a big one. Save data plus equal loots toString. toString plus percentage sign, and we just go on like that. So 12 more time. I think that's right. So we've got the rock, we've got the logs, we've got the silk, the planks, we've also got the brick, the iron ingot, the gold ingot, sapphire, emerald, ruby, cat, fox, and then finally unicorn, which I forgot, so let's just put that here. This is unicorn, and then we do our typical finale like this using the pipe sign. And I know this is a really annoying and really repetitive episode, but we've got to do it. So we've done this, let's get rid of it. And now here comes the part where we actually use to do this for loop, but we're going to remove it and actually type it well, manually, just because I told you guys it would have been, it's a little bit easier to read and to follow. So this is a research. Now the research, we only have one so far, but that's fine, we'll still put it in. So save data is plus equal research at the index, research at the index int research again, that's our enum tradesman toString, and I don't think we're actually going to be able to do that, so let me just check really quickly. Let's actually close this off using a pipe as well. So keyboard, is this going to work? Is it going to be I don't think this is going to work actually. Let's find out. Okay, so it's not able to recognize that this is our array. right here, and this is a type. So I think we also got another error. So let me just go check really quickly. Cannot be used as a statement. ToString plus ToString. Oh, right here. Don't know why I put a semicolon here. Alright, let's give this another try. So, a float array does not contain the extension. Alright, so this is going to be a problem. What we're going to do is we're going to change the name of that array to research time. To do this, I will go up here, right here, and I think we do have a rename property. So I'm actually going to double click on research, hit F2 on the keyboard, and type in research time. Now let's hit OK, and hopefully we haven't broken anything. Research time. So let's go quickly do a check if we have this written at wrong places. So right here, that's fine. That's the float array. Also the float array. Also the float array. That everything works so far. This is fine, fine. And of course here is not fine, but that's exactly where we'd like to this research to be the enum. So just type in research.traceman, and we are pretty much good now. Alright, let's proceed with the next one. So we're simply going to remove it. We know this is the abilities. So abilities save data is plus equal to abilities, abilities add index int ability dot boost morale, that's the first one, ToString plus the percentage sign, and then plus again, and we just keep on going like that. So far we have 3 of those, so we can just simply do that 2 more times. The first one being the rewarded add for the gold, and then the rewarded add for the diamonds. And of course we finish this off with a nice pipe. Alright, so this was a lot of copy paste, and sadly we do have a lot of copy paste left to do. So just before we end this, let's make sure that we return that save data. So return save data. So get save string is going to return us a nice really long string with all our game data inside of it. Alright, now we're going to be doing the load data from string. So we're going to be sending the get save string, we're going to be sending the save string right inside of this function, and this function is going to take care of just putting every single parameter that we've hidden in our string and put it inside of the proper arrays. So let's actually check out what we can do here. We are going to start by copy pasting what is inside of the load local function. So the whole load local function, going to take this, copy, and then just paste it inside the load from string. Now of course this is going to be remove, but at least we have something to go on right now, and sorry about this, I'm just losing myself in code. What I'd like to do here is, in case there is nothing saved, so if save data is equal to nothing, that's the first time we open up the game, we're simply going to hit return, just like that. That is the first statement we'll do. And now I'm figuring out that we can't only do that, so whenever we do a load from string, we also going to be declaring our arrays. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to be taking all of these and putting it right above the if save data. So that's the tower stats initialization. That's a hard word to say. And then the currency, same thing. We've got the loots, and we've got the abilities, actually research time array first, and then we've got the abilities. And here we go. So if we do a load from string, we initialize all our array, and then if it's empty, well, our arrays are pretty much empty, but at least they're there. So let's find out what we need now. So we're gonna need to set the play time since save, and instead of saying is equal to player pref, since we don't use player pref anymore, well, we do, but I mean we get it from a string right here. We are going to need to format our first section, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to say, when declare a string array called data is equal to save data.split, and we're going to split at the pipe. Okay, so we're splitting at the pipe. Now every little section that we have are going to be the same section we have in the save. So the first one is, of course, the time and the highest wave. So highest completed wave. Now what we can do in order to define what's inside of our section, because there's two different data in a single section. There is the playtime since save on the left, and there is the playtime since save on the right. So we're going to be splitting that. Let's do another string array, so string array again, called, let's just call this misc, I guess. So misc is going to equal data.split, or actually data at the index 0.split, and we're splitting, this time we're splitting at this percentage sign. And we pretty much have our data right now. So instead of misc at the index 1, we have the playtime since save. And that's the playtime since save. Now, highest wave completed, same thing, but this time at the index 1. So it's a little bit hard to understand at first, but it's really easy once you get the hang of it. The only problem we have with this is the playtime since save is a float, and the highest wave completed is a hint. Now, what we get inside of that is actually strings, because we put everything as a string. Now we're going to be putting it back inside of actual proper data type. So the misc at the index 0 should actually be a float. In order for that to happen, we'll do a float.parse, and we're going to parse this value. Now this one is an int, so we're going to do a int.parse this value. And if you guys understand what's going on, we're going to head over to our stats and just keep doing that pretty much non-stop. So let me simply remove all of that. We are going to say these are our stats. We're going to split the data at the index 1 this time, really important. We're splitting at the section, well, the second section, which is the number 1, because we're 0 based. So our stats damage is equal to int.parse stats at the index 0, because that's the first one in our string. And we just keep on doing that for every single one of our stats. And we should actually be fine after that. So let's just quickly change the number for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we have 8 different stats, and here they are. Alright, next section. Well, before we actually move forward, should we actually keep this? I think we should keep this. Let's just put it down there. That's part of the stats section. Okay, the next one is the currencies. So all we gotta say is, let's put a comment. Currency, we're gonna do the same exact thing we usually do. So we're gonna create a string out of it. String array currencies is data at the index 2. We split on the percentage sign. And then we go ahead and we do this thing. So we do a int.parse, and we're parsing currencies at the index 0. And then at the index 1, and finally at the index 2. Next one is loots. Copy this, loots with a L, and we split at data index 3. And you get the idea, so we're gonna be just doing that all the time. Good times. Alright, so how many do we have here? We have 13, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Did I count that wrong? I probably did. Who cares? And here we go. So we've got a total of 13 loots in there. Do we still have something to do? We still have the research, actually, and the ability. So let's keep going. I know this is getting a little bit annoying, but we have to do this. So research time, the first one. Could we actually change this a little bit so it looks better? We're going to do research time at the index int research dot tradesman is equal to, and we'll do a float dot pass. Oh, and we don't have the array just yet, so let's just create that array really quickly. String res, because research is already taken, is data at the index 4 dot split, and we're splitting the percentage sign. Now this time we have to parse a float. Don't forget, this is an actual float. And we're going to parse res 0. Once we have more, we're just going to increment that number, and it's going to be great. But right now we only have one research, so just going to leave it like that. I am going to copy this over. This is the abilities. We split at the index 5 this time, and that's the final one. So abilities research at ability dot boost morale is equal to float dot pass, and we're parsing abilities at the index 0. 2 more times, and that's 1, that's 2. That is the rewarded add for the gold and the rewarded add for diamond. And I think that is pretty much it. So we've done all of that. That's a lot of copy paste. That's a big episode of just typing this in. But now the good news is we save all of our game data inside of a single string. So our registry doesn't look like a real mess like it used to. So all of this is all going to just disappear and become a single saved string. Before we actually implement that inside of the cloud, because eventually we're going to be needing, well, the reason I'm doing this in the first place is so we can have something that is really easy to send to the cloud. But before we do that, let's actually make sure we haven't broke our game and we can actually use this in our game instead of using the save local and load local. So what I'll be doing up here is inside of the load local, what we will be doing is open it up. Just take everything in here. I am going to comment it out. I'm not going to delete, I'm just going to comment it out. Like that. And just collapse it so I don't see it anymore. And the only line we're going to need in the load local is load from string, we load, playerpref, dot get string. And the key of our new string is going to be the save string, as simple as that. So that's the only line that should actually do something inside of the load local. Now over to our save local, again let's comment everything out. Like that, close it off, and the only line that is going to show inside of our save local is going to be playerpref dot set string. We're going to set the save string, written the exact same way that we have in the load local, and we're going to do get save string, just like that. Now if I take a look inside of my registry, all my data is still there. We now have the save string, which is this thing. So this is supposed to be pretty much every single stats we have, research we have, everything is stored in here. And this thing over the right side, like this side, is actually my string. So we've stayed in the game for 82 seconds. The highest wave completed is 0, and then from there it just starts being the stats. So we have 1 in damage, hit point, this is something else, blah blah blah. That's the amount of gold we have, which is 5555. We need to remove this, by the way. This is the amount of, well, it's still part of the gold actually. Currency is almost done. Now currency finishes because we've got the pipe, and the pipe pretty much means that we're moving on to the next section. And this is the next section. That's the amount of loot. So we've got 0 in everything in terms of loot. That's the research right here. There's only 1, and it's the tradesman is at 0. And then all the 3 abilities are down there. Let's actually try starting an ability, see what happens in terms of the save string. So I'm going to click here, boot a ability. So let's use the diamond one. This is my add unit, good times. It is now on cooldown. I press on stop. Going to just boot this game again, see what we have, and it's still on cooldown, as you could tell. So we did manage to get the data back. And let's press F5 on this, go check. right at the end here, that's the time we actually start our last research. So everything seems to be working perfectly fine. And now to make sure I don't get any conflict in the future, I'm just going to take this whole D tower folder and just dump it. Right. So we've officially moved to our new save system, guys, which is supposed to be a little bit more optimal. Well, maybe not a little bit more optimal, but at least it's less of a mess inside of our reg edit. Now, I know it was a little bit easier to cheat with the old system, but we don't really want to cheat in the first place. So, yeah. Here it is. We are saving and loading from our new method, guys. And it's going to help us quite a lot when we do that on the cloud, and we're actually loading from the cloud as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Please hit the like if you did. I really appreciate that. If you have any comment or question, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Other than that, please subscribe for more tutorials like these, and I will see you guys next time.